In this episode of the Butt Chronicles, we take a look at Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 34, Couch Fishing.
Welcome to Industrial Industries World Radio's The Butt Chronicles.
You said welcome.
Oh God.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and butt munchers alike. Welcome to the Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head. And I'm your host, DJ Glowing Ice. Today we are taking a look at Beavis and Butt-Head episode 34, Couch Fishing. And it first aired on MTV on September 7th, 1993. And that's all we need to know. So, what happens to Beavis and Butt-Head in Couch Fishing? Let's check it out. The episode starts inside Beavis and Butt-Head's house as the boys watch a nature show on TV. On the show, there's a man in scuba gear as he stands in the ocean and he talks about how piranhas aren't as dangerous as they're made out to be. The host goes on talking about how piranhas are actually vegetarians, as we then see a piranha underwater swim up to the host, open its mouth wide, and then bite the host's butt. The host screams in pain as his blood starts making the water around him red. The boys laugh and Butt-Head says, "That fish ate his butt."
"Yeah, fish are cool,"
Beavis says. Butt-Head tells Beavis that they should go fishing.
"You mean like for fish and stuff?"
Beavis asks. "Yeah."
"I'm there, dude."
"Cool." The boys watch TV for a few seconds, then Beavis asks,
"Hey, Butt-Head, don't we need like an ocean or something?"
"Oh yeah, I forgot." A shared thought bubble with a light bulb inside forms above their heads, and Butt-Head says, "Couch fishing." Beavis agrees, and they both laugh. Next scene, we see the boys still sitting on the couch as Butt-Head has a fishing rod in his hand, and Beavis has his hand deep in the crack of the seat cushion of the couch. "You find any couch bait yet?" Butt-Head asks. Beavis pulls out a half-eaten slice of pizza and says,
"Cool, it's some old pizza."
"That's cool," replies Butt-Head, and Beavis takes a bite from the pizza slice. Beavis asks where Butt-Head got the fishing rod. Butt-Head puts the pizza on the hook of the fishing line and says, "Henderson's tool shed." And while sitting on the couch, Butt-Head casts the line out, sending the slice of pizza on the hook out of an open window of their house and onto the sidewalk outside.
"Did you see his tool in there?"
Beavis asks. "No, just his rod," replies Butt-Head. A raccoon walks its way up to the slice of pizza on the sidewalk and bites into it. Butt-Head tells Beavis to shut up as he starts reeling in his catch. Beavis starts singing the music of the theme song to the movie Jaws.
Dun 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 dun.
Butt-Head reels in the raccoon off the sidewalk and it flies through the window and plops belly first onto their floor. "Whoa, killer raccoon fish," says Butt-Head. He then pulls the hook from the raccoon's mouth and tosses the raccoon into a pail of water. Beavis grabs the rod and tells Butt-Head to get some bait. Butt-Head digs into the couch cushions and finds a broken Walkman cassette player. "Whoa, I found your old Walkman. I think it's broken."
"Yeah, 'cause you sat on it, lard butt."
"Oh yeah, that was cool." Cut to a side shot as we see the neighbor kid, Stuart, walking on the sidewalk. He's passing along the broken fence line of Beavis and Butt-Head's house. Stuart comes across the broken Walkman on the sidewalk, baited on the fishing line. He's excited to have come across it, saying, "Whoa, a Zener diode." Stuart then screams, "Ow!" Cut back to the boys inside their house, as Beavis sits on the arm of their couch, as he's reeling in his catch. "Sounds like a big one, dude," Butt-Head says, as Beavis keeps pulling the rod. Looking at the window, we see Stuart climbing up to it, as we see the hook going straight through his thumb. "Hey, cut it out, you guys! This really hurts! Come on, stop it already!" Stuart complains. "Stuart fish," Beavis says. "Bring 'em in slow. We don't want 'em to get away." As Stuart then gets pulled into the window, he yells, "Guys!" and then he falls from the window into the house. Now with Stuart standing in the house with Beavis and Butt-Head, he has blood spurting from his thumb. Beavis has his couch cushion pulled up as he's digging for more bait. He pulls out a box of prunes and Butt-Head says, "Whoa, I heard you get a wicked head rush if you breathe prune box air." Beavis puts the prune box to his nose and takes a deep breath. He then starts coughing. Butt-Head laughs and says, "Dumbass."
You fart knocker.
Beavis says, as he hands Butt-Head the box of prunes, as Butt-Head then baits the box onto the hook. Butt-Head casts the prune box out of the window and onto the sidewalk outside. We then see an old lady wearing glasses, in a pink bathrobe, wearing a green hat, pulling herself with a walker. She sees the prune box and says, "My heavens, a perfectly good box of prunes discarded on the sidewalk. Probably by some poor naive youngster too young to appreciate the subtle delights of nature's prune." Inside, as Butt-Head sits on the arm of the couch, he laughs and says, "Prunes suck."
Yeah, and they look like turds,
says Beavis. Butt-Head gets pulled hard, but brings the rod back and reels in his catch. Cut to the old lady with her arms out in front of her, bouncing on the sidewalk on her stomach as if she's flying. She screams, oh my goodness." As right then, a cop in his car drives by and notices the old lady and stops. He turns around, looking through the back window and says, "Oh no, not another elderly woman flying down the street. Will they ever learn?" The cop then starts driving in reverse. Inside the boy's house, Butt-Head reels in the old lady in her walker. The old lady falls right into the pail of water on top of the raccoon as she gets pulled in. "Oh my, I seem to have fallen down," she says. Sorry about that."
Yeah, it won't happen again,
adds Beavis. The old lady crawls on the floor as the metal pail is suction cupped to her butt, and the raccoon is wrapped around the back of her neck. The old lady feels around on the floor as she says, "Hello? What happened to my spectacles?" Your testicles?" says Butt-Head, and then the boys both laugh. Seeing out the window as Butt-Head stands by, we see a cop car pull up with its sirens blaring and stops on the road. Cut to Stuart standing in the corner as he says,
"I don't want to be a party pooper or anything, but don't you think this couch fishing thing is, I don't know, kinda irresponsible?"
Yeah? You want to try it?" Butt-Head asks, as he then throws the fishing rod to Stuart. As Stuart catches the fishing rod, he says,
"Really? I can hang with you guys?"
"I guess. Kind of," Butt-Head says, as he then stares out the window watching the cop walking in the yard and approaching the house. As Beavis stands by the window too, Stuart sits on the arm of the couch with the fishing pole in his hand and says,
"Wow, this is cool. This is great, guys. Maybe we could hang out together from now on."
Beavis and Butt-Head turn around, look at Stuart, and laugh. Stuart asks,
"Hey, I don't get it. What's so funny?"
Cut to an upward angle shot of Beavis and Butt-Head's front door as a cop kicks it in. The cop puts his hands on his hips and says, "So, doing a little couch fishing, are we?" The cop walks into the house and continues, "As if I couldn't have guessed." Stuart, now scared, still holding onto the fishing rod, says,
"But..."
The cop points at Stuart angrily and says, "Don't give me any of your butt, young man. Just drop the rod. I'm placing you under arrest." As the cop then handcuffs Stuart and pulls him off the couch. Butt-Head says, "It's like we tried to stop him, officer."
Yeah, but we couldn't. He hit us and stuff,
says Beavis. "Yeah, he tried to bite Beavis's butt." Seeing the cop in the doorway of the house, with Stuart being attached to him by handcuffs, he says, "Well, I'm sure you did your best, boys. Now in the future, just try to keep all fishing rods safely out of the hands of juvenile delinquents." "You got it, dude," replies Butt-Head. The cop looks down to Stuart and says, "All right, you punk." The cop lifts his arm up, making Stuart lift off the ground and hang by his wrist. He continues, Let's get you down to the station. The cop then pulls Stuart out of the house.
Stop! My dad'll...
The cop then slams the door and leaves with Stuart. Looking at Beavis and Butt-Head, as they still stand by the window, we hear the cop continue talking to Stuart outside. Shut up, you punk. We then hear the cop hit Stuart. As the cop is in his car now with Stuart, we see the old lady walking along the sidewalk without her walker. She's disoriented and saying, "Has anyone seen my spectacles?" Cut to a close-up shot of the old lady's eyeglasses as they get ran over by the tire of the cop car. The final shot is looking at Beavis and Butt-Head from outside of their house as they're inside, standing by the window and laughing. And that is Beavis and Butt-Head in couch fishing. Now let's check out the music videos. The first music video is Not Enough Time by INXS, and Butt-Head asks Beavis if he's ever gone to a public pool and went underwater and looked at people's butts. Butt-Head continues saying that this is wuss music, and then he changes it. Next is Mother by Danzig. The boys headbang to it, and Beavis says that the lead singer looks like Patrick Swayze. Next is Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies. The boys like it, and they headbang to it. And Beavis starts talking along with the singer as he goes on talking about his problems. Butt-Head tells him to shut up and settle down, and says, "I feel your pain." Butt-Head continues, "This dude's under a lot of stress." Beavis goes on a tangent and says,
It's like, hey Beavis, maybe we should talk about it, you'll feel better. I just say, leave me alone and I'll figure it out by myself. And they keep saying, Beavis, Beavis, and I don't know what to do. It's like...
Butt-Head then tells him to shut up. And the final music video is Jive Talking by the Bee Gees. The boys dance in their room as the video plays, and they think it's cool. Seeing the band play, Butt-Head asks, "Whoa, is this the Black Crowes?"
Yeah,
replies Beavis. Butt-Head continues saying, "Wait a minute, this isn't the Black Crowes. This is cool." Butt-Head has no idea who the band is, and Beavis throws around band names like Anthrax and White Zombie. That's the music videos. Now let's get into the fun facts. This episode stopped being aired after a certain time because there were stories or rumors out there, and none of them were ever proven, but there were stories out there that teenagers were imitating this and couch fishing as well and getting people very injured, but nothing was ever proven. But regardless, this episode really wasn't aired, and if it ever aired after all these incidents and rumors, it was very rarely. This episode was officially released on the Sticky Situations home video. Couch Fishing is the third episode of Season 3 of Beavis and Butt-Head, and it's the 34th episode overall. And IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, gives Beavis and Butt-Head, Couch Fishing, a 7.7 out of 10 rating. Now, I'll give you my review. Oh, good God, Couch Fishing. This was a classic of mine that I loved. It was probably my first Beavis and Butt-Head episode that was like, okay, these guys are the best. They are awesome. And this was my favorite episode for the longest time as a kid. Like all the episodes from seasons 1 and 2, this was the one that really hit home with me, and I loved it. I loved the old lady, Stuart, being a nerd, calling it a Zener diode, like he thought it was just some crazy gadget or something, and it was just Beavis and Butt-Head just being who they are in all of their pure glory. I remember playing this version of this episode on the Super Nintendo game as a kid, and it was really fun, kind of irritating at times, but I did enjoy that mini game of Beavis and Butt-Head. You had to control the hook and stuff would fall from the screen and you'd have to catch things like pizza would fall and all that. Yeah, I really liked playing that. So obviously I have seen this episode before, but a lot of it did leave my memory because it was never on the Mike Judge collection, and for the longest time that's how I watched Beavis and Butt-Head again. And yeah, a lot of great episodes aren't on that collection. And now, finally having all of the episodes, it's good to visit an old friend. It's like coming home. And yeah, there was a lot of things I forgot, and I kind of rediscovered and realized how much I really love this episode. Even just the little minor subtleties of just seeing the raccoon thump belly first onto the floor is just, just stupid things like that. It's just really funny to me. And as much as I love the band In Excess, Butt-Head calling it wuss music, he was right in saying so. I love In Excess, but yeah, it is somewhat wuss music a lot of the time. But Beavis and Butt-Head getting down to the Bee Gees, sorry guys, not a fan. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so let's look at this episode. What's the concept? It's Beavis and Butt-Head going fishing. Imagine this episode didn't exist, and someone decided to write this episode. Okay, Beavis and Butt-Head go fishing. It really could have gone to where they walked to a lake and fished and did something like that. That would have been boring. So this was the perfect episode with thinking about what Beavis and Butt-Head would actually do with fishing. And they do it by sitting on their couch. It's perfect. It is almost a perfect episode. And, you know what? Screw that. This is a perfect episode. I love this episode. Stuart getting pulled out by a cop at the end and Beavis and Butt-Head getting away scot-free. It all happens in their living room, and it's just perfect. The world comes to them in this episode. It's great. So I'm going to have to give this one a 10 out of 10. Lots of great childhood memories. It had its own little segment in the video game. There's a lot of great things in this episode. The music videos were great too, the segments there. So there we go. Yes, Beavis and Butt-Head couch fishing gets a 10 out of 10.